Hey guys, Mike Wood here from vipersharp.com. I am going to talk a little bit today about using the ViperSharp system, and what I'd like to talk about specifically in this video is getting the burr, what a burr is and why it's so important in sharpening. So the first thing we want to do is mark the edge of the blade with a Sharpie. What we're looking for is to estimate that angle and remove the marker. So you can see we've removed the marker all the way out to the edge there. On the main part of the blade, we're getting there all the way to the edge. Out over here, we're close. We're going to have to reprofile that a little bit. And out on that tip, there we go. So we need to work a little bit more there, and we'll, like I say, we'll be reprofiling that. I don't think this knife has ever been sharpened, but there we are, pretty good, knowing that we've got our angle. And we're just going to work that back and forth, and what we're looking for is when we work the metal enough, we work the edge enough, when we do a back and forth motion like this, we actually will fold over the metal a little bit on the other side. And so on this back side, we should be able to move our finger along like this and feel it catch. That's creating a burr where the metal is wrapping around the other side. That's really important when sharpening, because that's the way we verify that we're actually going all the way to the edge. Otherwise, you could sharpen all day long and think that you're getting there, but you're missing that micro edge, and you try to cut a piece of paper or cut a hair or whatever test you want to do, and it's not actually sharp because you're not getting all the way to that micro edge. And so we've got to make sure that we are getting there where we need to be. This stone that I'm working with right now is aluminum oxide, a vitrified man-made stone. It's not going to be as hard as a diamond stone. And with this steel, it's going to take a while before I'm actually going to create a burr, because I'm working with a harder powder steel. This is S30V, and it's going to be harder than softer, cheaper steels. And so if you've got a nice blade like that, what you want to do is use diamond. And the diamond, you could use water. You could use them dry, but the best lubricant for diamond is oil. You don't want to use oil on the ceramic stones, because if you do, they'll never take water again. It's oil or water with sharpening. So back and forth, you can do a circular motion. This is kind of awkward with my position here, but I want you to be able to see the work as I'm doing it. These diamonds will do a lot faster job than the vitrified aluminum oxide stones. And this is a pretty rough job. This is with the 400 grit, where we're really removing a lot of metal. You can see it building up there on the edge, all black along that edge there. And it's going to leave some pretty hefty striations in the blade that will need to be worked out with the other higher grits. But you really only need to worry about that burr on the first most aggressive grit you use. because once we have that burr, we know we've gotten all the way to the edge. Right here I've got a burr, right there. So when I create that burr all the way along, I'll see if I can get it on camera so you can understand what we're talking about there. But when I hear somebody tell me they're not being able to sharpen and get the knife to cut paper, this is my first primary thought is you're not getting all the way to the edge. And you've got to make sure you're going to the edge. All the way to that micro edge, or you're not sharpening your knife. It's an interesting challenge to get the right angle here to show you the sharpening. I generally like a circular motion like this. It gives me a good, consistent good consistency on everything. So I'm gonna burr. Yeah, still on that back half, but we're getting close. It's almost there. But we still need to work a bit on that tip. There we go. You can hear that catch, right? That's the burr. Right there, not as much. And not quite as much right out at the tip. But I feel pretty good that we have the burr all the way to the edge. Now again, I'm working S30V steel here. It was dull enough that I did need to do a little reprofiling with it. And so now after about 15 minutes, 16 minutes of work, we've got a burr all the way along. So I don't know if we can get that or not here on camera, but I'm certainly going to try. So right there, you can kind of see where it's catching, see that? So that's the burr we're trying to create. And now we want to get rid of that burr on this side and create one on the other side. And that lets us know that we've got this side then exactly where we need it. And we can see that black marker coming off pretty quick. Now once I've got the burr going the other direction, then I know I'm ready to finalize my edge. Right there, I've already got it. One thing that's important to understand is to realize I am not pushing on this blade. I'm not pushing down on this handle. It should be just let the weight of the stone do the work. You don't need to put any pressure on it. Then your cleanup strokes are going to be from the heel of the blade, the top of the stone, to the tip of the blade and the bottom of the stone. So you're moving this way and this way, up and forward at the same time. Use as much of that stone as you can. Let's flip it over and give the other side some cleanup strokes. Now with the coarse grit, that should be good to remove that burr that I created. So see, as we're going through the process, we can see how sharp we're getting there. And yes, it's cutting, but it's rough. Okay, we're only at 400 grit right now, so I'm going to give it just a few more passes here. It's utility sharp, but we want to get it much sharper. Now, I don't generally count passes. You could if you wanted to count it and do an even number on each side. I do usually just go by feel. I've sharpened enough knives I can feel when it's cleaning things up and getting where I want it to be. All right, time to move on up to the 1200 and final stone. So test it till you get everything smooth and nothing is catching. Then you know you've got your knife sharp all the way along the edge. And if you want to carry it a little further, you can use the strops or the lapping film. Get a mirror edge if you really want to. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I don't really care for a mirror edge. I use my knives, and as long as they're useful, that's all I care about. So there we can see that's pretty good. What I might do at this point is I will throw a strop on, and strops, of course, are going to go one direction away from the blade. Heel of the strop to the top of the strop. Pick it up. When I'm using this, I'm usually in front of the knife. Like this. And it feels a lot more natural. Although I'm getting used to that other direction. So get the burr, work the burr out, and if you want to, you can work the burr at each grit level and make sure that you're always getting to the edge. but I think we've got it where we need it. And the other thing is to make sure that when you're cutting, cut all the way to the tip so we can see if there are any points along the way where you need to work the blade. Listen for it, feel it, and if there's any notch in there anywhere, it's going to catch, and so you'll know where you need to do more work.